this conference to find a group of students and staff that were pushing hard. And I think pushing harder than I was, and pushed me hard during the session and pushed me after the session. And I found in the Ira team, a team that pushed me, and we had a nice lunch and all the things and started with smiles. Then there came the pushes that we could do more, that I could do more, that I could do better as a leader, and I could do better as an alum. And I could do better as a white man running an organization, serving a community of color here for 15 years in East Harlem. And I want to try to make sure we keep it local, that we push hard, and that I keep it local, and I keep hard, and I keep my reflection. So it's ironic to be moderating a panel on governance when certainly our organization and I have a lot to do. I and the organization have been lauded for a lot of our work around anti-racist training, a lot of anti-racist governance training. But you look at our board, and 40% of our board identifies people of color, 95% of our students and nearly 90% of our staff do. Right? We have a ton of work that we need to do to deal with the difficult topics day to day of how is power shared, how is policy made, and how do we do right by the students, and how do we give our students and our families the actual power to be their best selves and to make their own decisions. And so, I come to you with that humility. I'm also struck by Professor Mohamed's comments this morning that while we can look at policy, and we know policy is really powerful, it starts with the deep, local, immediate introspection, the actions that we take at the human level, at our institutional level. And that's where the heart of the work is. And so we're going to get into that today, and I'm going to reflect on that today as well. I also, in modeling that and do that, I mentioned that I'm here working with students and been doing it for a long time. I think it would be shameful to not note that Harvard Crimson just reported this morning that Harvard Kennedy School has failed to again make progress in attracting more staff that aren't white, attracting more students that aren't white, in doing its work as an organization. I think about this, just 20 blocks south of me in the Upper East Side of Manhattan, where sometimes schools, 10, 20% of students will go to Harvard. And then I look at a Harvard, where we don't see those changes happening in the student body. And what is that going to mean for access and equity and real change? I'm struck that if I Google the words Harvard and governance, I will get every study under the sun. I challenge you to do it. You will see every study from everywhere, except for the study that notes that there is not a woman of color on the board of Harvard University. So let's say those things. Let's not say those things so we can just complain about them and let them be the past or let them be slipped by. Let's talk about the why. Let's make sure we keep it local and immediate. Let's push for change, because we have the privilege, and I know I have the privilege of now being involved with this project and this center, where I think students and the staff involved with it, and the advocates involved, and the professors and the teachers involved are really starting something special, doing something special. I've been floored by the panelists that become before us, and the moderators that become us before us, the speakers that become us before us. But I'm even more floored and honored for all the people that have tried to work to see change at Harvard, many of whom have been pushed back, have not been able to make that change because of all the things going against them. And I think we owe that a real conversation. And we're going to have a great one because we have this incredible panel with us, and I want to get to them right away now. So I want to start with that why. In our organization here in East Harlem, we always talk about the why, and we always try to put storytelling at the front. So I'm going to go to each panelist on this. And for those watching, don't worry, we won't go to each panelist on every single question. We're going to keep it moving. But on this question, on the why. So tell us from your experiences why this topic of governance, this topic of white power in governance, this topic of how do we shift that change? How do we see those shifts and changes at the board level? Why does this matter? And we'll start with you, Ms. Mills.
First of all, it's great to be here, and always great to be among people who are seeking change, because, certainly my life wouldn't have been possible without it, and the opportunities I have wouldn't have been possible without it. For me, governance at its core, whether or not it's about white dominance in governance or governance pure, right? I spend most of my time working in businesses in Africa, right? So there's not the white dominance issue is a little bit of a different issue in that regard, because many of the boards and opportunities that I'm working with is really more male in that construct with people of color. it comes down to what is it that you really want to see in the world. And I think governance creates the opportunity to fashion the world we want. And I think a lot of times people think of governance and they reduce it to compliance and its complicity and all the other things. But the truth is, it's really about the vision we want for what we want to see in the world. And a lot of times that shows up on a board, whether or not it's a not-for-profit, whether or not it's actually a public or private company, but it also shows up every day in the kind of things that we do, even in families and their structures for governance. And you ask yourself, is this what I want? So why does it matter? Well, it matters deeply in ways that ultimately then ripple out across everything you do. I watch it just in my own family, and we have a family of a variety of races. That means that anytime our relationships all get together, it looks different. It feels different. And I was struck because I was looking at today, I like to read People magazine. You can shoot me later, but whatever, I love it. And there was a picture of Jennifer Gates's The Women Who Have Supported and Lifted Her Up. And they were like 23 women. They were amazing. 3 of them looked like they were probably associated with her fiance, who's Egyptian, but they were all white. And I thought, wow, like this is a family that has done so much in the world for so many different things that we all care about. But it was still interesting that even as you think about your own governance that you controlled the most deeply, your own relationships, it looked that way. So for me, it matters. And I guess I would say it starts way before we get into the organized structures of governance. It starts with how we live and how we choose to live and how we intentionally choose to change.
That's very helpful. We're going to come back to just those items. But Ms. Tweedy, why does the idea of anti-racist governance matter? Why is this something we need to pursue?
So first, I also would just like to say how honored I am to be part of this conversation with you all today. And a real thank you to Professor Mohammed, mostly for just always being a leader and telling the truth before it was even a little more fashionable to do so about our country and how we got here and what that means for where we need to go as we continue to fight the way forward. I think it was brilliant that he and the team carved out this conversation specifically around boards for exactly what you're getting at with this question, Jeff, which is why boards across the corporate and the nonprofit sector matter from their governance role. That, as you start to talk about a bit, Ms. Mills, that as we think about the underpinnings, both of our day-to-day lives, but certainly of our livelihoods, from the products that we're using to how we bank to the enrichment program that we send our kids to, where they're, yes, developing academically, but also their understanding of their identity, that so much of the underpinnings of those systems and structures are determined by the boards behind those businesses and organizations. But what I'd add there is also that they are so often left out of the public gaze, left out of the limelight when we're asking questions about the systems and the structures that have been built and that are sustained in our country and in our society, and certainly often left out of those conversations when we're asking, are those systems and structures driving equity and driving justice or detracting from them? The additional why that I'll add on to my excitement about this conversation is, as there has been so much scrutiny, rightly so, accountability, shining the bright light on what companies and organizations, so often led by their boards, said, proclaimed, committed, made some initial contributions and investments to around racial equity, certainly over the last year and 18 months, that alongside that push and that accountability, I want to ensure that for all of us who are in this fight for justice for the long term, for our kids and our kids' kids and our kids' kids' kids, that we're thinking about all those proclamations as promissory notes, yet unpaid, yet unfulfilled largely, but promissory notes that we expect to come to be paid in full at a date certain in the very near future, and that we're doing everything in our power to both support and ensure that that happens.
Thank you so much for that. Ms. Jackson, tell us your why, from your experiences, from your work, why does anti-racist governance matter? Why is it going to make a big difference?
Sorry, I was on mute. I'm used to being told that now. First of all, thank you for inviting me to this really important conversation. And it's a really transformative conversation because I feel like we have these conversations over and over and over again, like for decades. And I feel like embedded to the answer to your question is because we keep returning to this place. In spite of the values that we espouse as a country and as a society, we find ourselves in this situation where we have to ask the same questions over and over. So kind of similar to what Samantha and Cheryl were talking about in terms of what is our vision. I think that it's important because it really reflects on what is our true commitment. As a society. I come from a movement perspective, which is that in addition to talking about the systems and the structures, it's, how do we galvanize and mobilize people that are directly impacted negatively by these same questions? How do we begin to lift up and give that movement energy to challenge the way these structures look like? Maybe we don't need these structures anymore. Maybe they're actually outdated and they don't really have the promise of delivery in the way that we thought. So I think that it's a crisis of imagination. Maybe it's political will, but certainly that the structures that we are so wedded to may be outdated and not useful anymore.
In classic school fashion, you're going to hear an announcement. Dr. Schuster, go for your why. Go ahead.
Thank you so much for giving me that degree, but I don't actually hold. Thank you, and it's an honor to be part of this just remarkable group of folks to talk on this topic today. So when I think about governance and the composition of who is at the table, what I'm aiming for is systemic change. What drives me each day working in the Boston Public Schools and also as a Boston Public Schools parent is how can we transform the very basic ways we view our mission as an urban school district and the way we do our work so that our outcomes change. And race and ethnicity is no longer a predictor of academic outcomes and other outcomes for our students and our families and our staff. And so as we move from tokenistic representation to true representation to shifting the white folks who continue to participate in governance so that we get out of the way of change, or better yet, become effective at partnering in change, then we're going to start to see real results. I'm sure many of the folks on the panel as well as listening are familiar with that phrase, nothing about us without us. And in the Boston Public Schools, that means that we need communities of color represented at the table, including our young people.
Appreciate that. I wanted to help with our group watching, and we know there's a lot of students watching. We also know there's a lot of people that are not in some closer to the governance field. And just make sure we talk about literally sort of what is governance and as well as to why it matters. We have the real fortune of having an incredible group on here that has had experience in boardrooms in various different ways, working with and of boardrooms in various ways. I wonder if I want to be able to talk about the corporate boardroom and the nonprofit boardroom, and obviously the higher education boardroom. I wonder if, as we go back to you, Ms. Mills, if you can just help our group and help all of us understand literally why does a board matter in terms of what do they do that matters so deeply for those who aren't familiar? What's the responsibility of a board member? Why does it matter?
So I sit on both not-for-profit and for-profit boards, so corporate boards, if you will, that are public companies, and then not-for-profit boards. One of them being an education institution, just Maya Angelou Public Charter Schools. Boards matter because what they create is kind of accountability for the outcomes that are supposed to happen for an organization or an entity. In other words, they are the kind of, if you will, in a family structure, the last word in your family, whether or not that's your grandmother, your mother, your parents, whatever it is, they are the people who in the end say, and this is how it shall be. And this is how we shall hold ourselves accountable. And in doing that, most of the, if you are in a public company, the management, if you will, they have responsibility for driving the mission and the mandate and the outcomes that are supposed to be happening based on whatever resources people are putting at the table or whatever change they're trying to see happen. And then they are actually saying, did that happen? Did it not? Did it happen the way it should have happened? And are there ways in which we're not living up to the values that we say we should live up to? That's what boards are accountable for. And that's why oftentimes when people are seeking change, they look at the boards and say, are you really doing your job? Are you really making sure the delivery of all the promissory notes that Samantha talked about, but also as a general matter, that are the promissory notes of that organization or that entity are really being delivered on? And if they're not, use your seat, your power, your leverage, or your resources to change that. That's how I would describe governance.
Can I just add one thing, Jeff, which is
Please,
just like the folks in your family who have the ultimate word, they say some things. There's a lot that you do or don't do because of what they don't say. So what comes out of the board and what they say, what they do, how they behave, what they ask about, things that may always go unsaid, trickle down into every aspect too of organizations and businesses, including culture, including what they are going to direct not only their day-to-day work on, but what they see as the limits or the possibilities for their impact. And so just want to add on to what I think was a perfect summary of what they do, to say that a lot of what they don't do explicitly also drives so much of both the culture and the ultimate impact of organizations.
And just to use an example of what Samantha's saying is, right, one of the things that people often don't like to do, particularly when it comes to issues of diversity, is count. But we all know we count things that matter and we don't count things that don't. And so if I'm not counting, even if I don't say, it doesn't matter. I know they're counting dollars, right? I know they're counting outcomes. And if they're not counting the change they want to see in their diversification, be that in their portfolio or in their boards, right? That lack of counting sends that message as well.
And Ms. Jackson, Ms. Schuster, we're going to get you in, but actually I want to build right on that because Ms. Tweedy, I know your organization has really spent a lot of time looking at that work of the accounting and the numbers. So help extend that out for us. How bad is the count looking?
Was this for me or for Samantha?
Go ahead. Go ahead and I'll build on you.
No, I actually want to hear what you have to say because I think the question was directed at you. I just want to be clear. Thank you.
So as Jeff was sharing, one of our wonderful new board members to the Black Economic Alliance, where I am the also new president of the foundation, Gabby Salzberger, who was the chair of the Whole Foods board, is on the MasterCard board, among many of others, along with Ursula Burns and others, has founded and is leading the Board Diversity Action Alliance. And they have new research that actually looked at privately held companies, recognizing that so much of the conversation, new as it is, and the change that we've seen, recent as it is, has been around public companies. And I'm looking down at the data because it's new and I want to make sure I get it right. So as we all know, there are far more of the privately held companies than there are publicly traded firms. So of more than about 30 million businesses in our country, fewer than just 1% are listed on a stock exchange. So I say all that to say we're talking about a lot of companies with a lot of influence here. And many of those private companies are often going to become tomorrow's biggest public companies and therefore the biggest employers. They looked at the 18 top venture capital and private equity firms, Andreessen Horowitz, Blackstone, et cetera, and saw that over the last 20 years, they've invested in 843 private companies that have gone public, and that collectively those companies are now worth over $10 trillion. And then looked at the same time period at the board seats. 700 board seats at those companies over that same period. Only 49 held by Black directors. Only 1%, that is then, of the thousands of positions over more than 20 years. And what they then did was step back and analyze, well, what can we do about this? And really start to lean into solutions and identified that given that so much of the culture of companies are created in that early phase, and that like happens really across every sector, whether you're starting a business, you're starting a lemonade stand, right? Whether you're starting a new club at school, or you're starting a new nonprofit organization, you start with who you know. start with your family, you start with your friends. That so much of the creation of those boards where white leaders are bringing white board members right on alongside them was dramatically influenced what was happening down the road. And so one of the pieces that they started looking at is, what would it mean if these companies were prioritizing, and the investment firms that are providing funding and mentorship during these early years are prioritizing diversity at that point? And that then companies down the road are avoiding the scramble when they do go public, but also making tremendous moves to increase diversity in the long run.
So, I mean, incredibly powerful. So we have these words that Ms. Mills said. Boards say, in the end, say, this is how it shall be. I mean, what an extraordinary summary of what a board, in the end, this is how it shall be. But 40 odd people out of the 10,000 odd that are making those decisions across all those companies are even a part of that. You know, I'm struck, we're in a session, IRA has that A in it, accountability, right? And we said that boards are accountability. So it's an extraordinary set of circumstances we have. Ms. Jackson, so you've done incredible work around thinking around the language and the culture, right? That is part of this work. So now we now have a bunch of these data points, right? And but these are human beings. These are all interacting together, doing work. So what does the culture start to look like? What does the language start to look like? And how does that play into all of this?
Yeah, thank you for this question. I just wanted to lift up one quick visual, actually, about the point that we were just talking about in terms of the numbers. And I haven't worked in corporate America for a long time, so it just in transparency, I'm a little sort of disconnected from that context of this conversation. But I have been working for nonprofits for like 25 years, and so what I will say is that when we were doing DEI work, diversity, equity, and inclusion, which I think connects to this question that you're asking me, Jeff, about the language that we use and how it reflects the work that we have to do, there was this perception in the nonprofit sector, and I don't know if you can, well, you can't see it, but of the snow-capped mountain. And this is, that kind of reflects what racial diversity within nonprofit organizations. And that at the top of the organization, that would include the board and include the leadership, the directors, many managers, definitely financial folks, are all white, mostly white, okay? And then the further you get down the mountain, the base of it, then you see more people of color. And that was kind of the visual that we would use. And it sounds like it's very similar for the corporate structure as well, in the corporate sector as well. And so, which is to say that that is kind of what we're looking at within our, within this kind of this on boards, within the leadership of organizations, nonprofit wise and corporate wise as well. And so, in terms of the language that we're using, I think a lot of it, I think there's nuances. This is what I'll say, is that, the language that we're using definitely reflects where our work is. So we use diversity, equity, and inclusion, where a lot of us are talking about mere representation, having Black and brown faces, maybe Indigenous faces present at the table. But for me, as from a movement perspective, it is a lot deeper than that. We're really talking about power, the power to set direction, to determine what the priorities are. And I'm talking specifically about nonprofit organizations where we often have, a lot of tokenism on boards, where the culture does not support an environment where people can be challenged, where people can set direction. And so, I think that our language has to really reflect what our vision is. And I feel like that comes from a lot of really difficult conversations.
So thank you for that. Let's build on this visual of the snow-capped mountain. So Ms. Schuster, can you let's talk about family, parent power, right? I know you see a lot of that in both as your experience a parent and administrator in the Boston Public Schools. Tell us what that looks like for the white people who are even committed. Do they follow through? Is it just talk about wanting change? What does it look like in your context?
Yeah, so I have an example that I think really illustrates the stages going from a complete ignorance to anti-racism all the way up to building anti-racism into policy and practice. So when my daughter started in the Boston Public Schools, she's a junior now in high school, but she was 4 when she started in pre-K. And I went to my first parent council meeting at a Boston Public School that is beautifully diverse in terms of race and ethnicity. The school then and now, it's about 1/3 African American and Afro-Caribbean, about 1/3 Latinx, and about 1/3 white folks, very small Asian population. So I arrive at the school, excited mommy, and go to my first parent council meeting. And I look around the room, and it was quite representative of the student body and the parents who were there. And then I looked at the executives, the elected board that ran the parent council at the front of the room, all white. And I'm looking around like, is anyone noticing this? Is anyone as upset as I am as a white mother at a majority students of color community? What is the problem here? And I was determined to partner with other folks to figure out what the barriers were. What are we going to do to change this? And over time, it's a longer story than I have time for now, but over time, first we started changing sort of individual hearts and minds. But ultimately, what it came down to is having the Boston Public Schools adopt an official protocol that every parent council across the city, we have 125 schools, were required to follow, whereby you seek nominations for parent council positions, and then there's a pause where you say, do these initial nominations reflect the racial and ethnic demographics of our school? It is required to pause and ask that question. And of course, the next challenge is, do we implement this written policy, right? Which I don't know, because I don't attend 125 parent council elections a year, but what I see from my experience is with it, we have increasing fidelity to that protocol, and it matters. And I know at my daughter's school, once we made that sea change happen, that at first required a few of us to definitely show up on election night because it was an individual change level. Now I don't have to show up there anymore. My daughter doesn't go there anymore, but I don't have to show up because it's baked in that we're going to talk about this and we're going to ensure that we have a representative leadership.
Appreciate that. So one thing, sorry, Ms. Tweedy, were you trying to get in there? Yeah, go.
I was just going to say that I think that is an example of how important it is that in every shape or form, from processes, but also to all of those norms and cultures that exist within boards in the same way they do in every institution, every family, every friend group, that we're thinking about really what it takes, not just to get past tokenism in its definition, right? But actually the philosophies and the orientation and the how that tokenism plays out on board. So I've spent a lot of my career as an executive in the nonprofit space, education space, philanthropic space, both sitting on boards and working as an executive with boards. And I was working with an educational institution where the only Black person and only woman on the board before me was a parent whose kids were in that educational institution. And where behind closed doors, what the board said, even to me, was that parent was kept on the board because they actually didn't bring the parent perspective to the table. And so they were a safe parent. I've been on a board where it was very clear that the giving of board members directed their power on the board, very openly so. And every single Black and brown person who was brought onto the board was brought onto the board as a thought leader, not people who came with the financial contributions that would then put them in that equal seat of power on the board. I could go on and on just from my own personal experiences, but I'll stop there and just sum it up to say that even as we're making these changes where much more frequently, it's not just one, we're not the only on a board, that what we're seeing play out is that the philosophy sustains, so that people are being brought onto boards because they are Black or are Latinx or are a woman, as opposed to being viewed as a person who's bringing in the lived expertise of someone who's a marketing expert or a fundraising guru who has done all of that while being a Black person or a brown person living in this country. And that expertise and that perspective is incredibly valuable to any organization or company in this American society, where every aspect of our business and of our lives is intertwined with systemic racism. And that's the push that I think we need to make, both on the outside and on the inside of boards, is asking what else is it going to take so that as more folks are coming onto the boards, the way that their experience and expertise is playing out in the direction governance of the entity is actually disaggregating and leaning into what companies and organizations need to do to address that intertwined nature of every piece of their work and systemic racism.
Yeah. So we're going to do one more piece in this, and then we're going to get to talking about some of the things that work and some of the things that can help move things forward. But on this, got just a great push coming in through the questions in chat, and we'll do more of that later. But I want to use this one now as it's here, and it fits exactly right, which is we've heard from the term nice white parents from Shannon Jaffe, Wade, and Nicole Hannah-Jones, nice white racism from Robin DiAngelo. This idea of nice white racism, what does it look like? So in the context of, say, the boards, the PTAs, I want to make sure we do come back to that question I was pushing on of, do white parents and people follow through on their commitments? I've been very proud to be in an organization where I think we have seen people follow through. We have also seen people who don't, but I think some of the power of the progress we've made is having a board and others who do follow through. And when they don't, us trying to hold that accountable. And I try to do that for myself on a regular basis. So I wonder if really anyone on the panel wants to comment on on that idea of the follow through. I think, I would probably first give it to you, Ms. Schuster, just because sort of being a white parent in that space and interacting with white parents and seeing them not follow through. And then I would love anyone else to also comment.
Yeah. There's so many examples that I see every day in the Boston Public Schools where our district is about 14% white students. And of course, their parents are overrepresented in terms of the voices that get heard. And some of those parents stay in the Boston Public Schools because they do have a commitment to anti-racism. They want, including myself, I want my child happens to not be white, but I want my child, and many white people want their white children to grow up in a district where they're interacting with children from different backgrounds, whereas white children, they're not necessarily in the majority. So there's those good intentions, absolutely, for the overwhelming majority, I think, of our white parents. On the other hand, we often get to that point where we are on the edge of real change, where resistance suddenly appears, right? So I don't know if anyone on the panel has been following changes we're making to our admissions policy for our 3 very prestigious so-called exam schools, our selective high schools, where white people and who live in Boston have historically felt entitled to those seats. And when you start to raise the potential of a new policy where my white child, of this imaginary white parent I'm speaking about, might not get that expected seat that we have assumed we were entitled to, then the resistance appears. And I think that points to the need, a number of needs, but one of them is the need for white anti-racist affinity work. For white people to be held accountable, to do our own separate work, to study the history of racism, to understand the current realities of racism, to have a place where we can show our ignorance without it being hurtful to a person of color who's present. So we can talk about our mistakes, talk about our struggles in a room where other folks identify as white and are trying to do the work together. And we've been growing that work in the Boston Public Schools among our central office, among our schools, and we're actually just about to pilot our first white anti-racist affinity group for elementary school students. So we're trying to grow that work as much as we can so that we can stop being nice white parents or students or staff.
Just to add, I do think we also have a responsibility as we're sharing the data. And as you always remind us, Jeff, the narrative and stories behind that data about how racism affects everybody. You know, when we talk about the racial wealth gap, yes, we need to talk about the 10-to-1 racial wealth gap between white and Black Americans. We also need to talk about how closing that racial wealth gap could increase the US GDP by $1.5 trillion. We need to, Heather McGhee's recent book, Some of Us, Heather McGhee, who was in the opening panel last night, who's on the advisory board of the Black Economic Alliance, has contributed so much data, but the narrative behind that data as well, to tell the story of how so often, you know, we as Black communities are the canaries in the coal mine and placed there intentionally so. And yet over time, that so many of the systemic and structural race-based challenges to the Black communities actually have such negative impact for white Americans and Americans of all races as well. And the more that we can bring that into conversation, not simply in, you know, incredibly powerful texts and big data points, but also in the one-on-one conversations that you're describing, Ms. Schuster, with other parents and with other school members, the better off we are, because at heart, we are all self-interested humans, right? We're all mama bears and papa bears for our kids and for our interests. And we need to be able to contribute to that understanding of this really is about all of us to move the needle.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I think it's a perfect segue to think about, we have certainly, I think, laid out as much as we can the minutes we've had, a lot of the diagnosis. And I want to get to sort of thinking about how we've seen things that work. And what's great about this panel is there's such a scale of experiences. So Ms. Mills, the scale of the places you've seen is extraordinary. For those who don't know, you've got a lot of the bioinformation, which is why I haven't gone through too much of it. But Ms. Mills was chief of staff to Secretary Clinton in the Obama administration, has been at the government's large scale at NYU, which is one of the most pivotal, obviously, higher education institutions. And she's obviously seen various boardrooms, both in the nonprofit and corporate side. So try to help for everybody watching this who is maybe in those boardrooms or about to be on those boardrooms or getting in those boardrooms or having to work with people in those boardrooms. Like what works at all? What have you seen that is work? What has worked for you, for other people you've seen? What has helped move things forward at any of those scales? Pick and choose.
I always think different things are required, or in no circumstance is obviously a cookie cutter, right? And so each time you're trying to figure out what's going to move the needle. And for me, one of the questions I started asking myself in the different environments is, how can I actually be heard? Because a lot of times I had a point I wanted to make, and I wanted change I wanted them to make. And I wanted a behavior that was, to me, so transparent that they should be engaging in, that I thought if I just told them, why wouldn't they do it, right? It's logical, it's good for everyone. And over time, it became increasingly clear to me, sometimes they couldn't hear me. Sometimes they didn't really want to hear me. And sometimes they weren't going to make that shift. And so I became the kind of master at what is this particular situation and this particular person actually require? And how can I go about that behavior? So I always use this example at the State Department, which, look, the State Department in diplomacy is just, for lack of a better word, it's really one of the last bastions of true elements of whiteness that you've probably not seen. And they as a department know it, and they've been seeking to change it for decades. But I would be there and I would say, I just don't even understand, why are all the ambassadors typically white? I recognize that sometimes that might be connected to their opportunities to contribute in some regards, but a lot of times it's about expertise and other things like that could be brought to bear in a different way. People used to show up in my office every day with their slate for Near East Asia affairs, my favorite, Africa. Pick your favorite region of the world, and they would say, I would love to have a more diverse slate, but these were the people I could find. And they would have 6 white men, 1 white woman, and they would be proud of the diversity of the white woman who was there. And I would say, this doesn't even reflect the region that you're actually trying to lead. This would go on, and they would look at me and say, of course, she's a Black woman. Of course she takes this position. And I would say, look, I'm not moving the slate forward the world's going to come to an end, democracy is going to end, we're not going to be actually, doing all the things we're supposed to do around the world, but I'm not moving it. And I wouldn't move it. And people hated it. And I was the Black woman problem because I was stopping change from happening. And the kind of change was out in the world as opposed to we're getting more voices into the equation. So one of the things that I did was I realized that people couldn't hear me. But for whatever reason, Tom Nides, who I use his name all the time, so he knows, he was vice chairman of Morgan Stanley. He's like the quintessential white guy, right? Tom Nides, they could hear. And Tom Nides is ferocious on this issue. So I used to say, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore. You can go see Tom. And they'd be like, excellent. I'm going down to see the quintessential white guy. This is all going to work out for me. And you could hear his voice down the hallway. This is embarrassing. What the hell is this? Whatever, right? And he would boom out. And suddenly these people who were like, gee, I thought it was a Black woman being my problem, was suddenly like, there are a panoply of people who care about our ability to actually bring to bear the power, the knowledge, the expertise, the experience of the full diversity of our country. And to do that in the people who are leading in these posts of diplomacy. That was what was required in that environment. In a different environment, something fundamentally different was required. So for me, it's always been about, instead of doing what, at least in my first, I would say 10 years of being in the White House and other places, of just demanding, right? Because I felt like, how can they not respond? It's so clear what needs to happen, is to start saying, how can someone hear me? And if someone needs to hear me differently, do I need to say it differently? Do I need to think different? Wouldn't it be great if I lived in a world where that wasn't the case? Well, you know what? I don't live in that world and I want the change. So what am I prepared to do to bring about that change? And so that's one strategy. I could pick multiple others, right? My favorite, certainly I sit on the board of BlackRock, and they have really looked at the set of challenges that they see in their own workforce and said, look, we're going to commit ourselves, and publicly start saying we're committing ourselves, right? And part of it is the public ownership, because if you don't have public ownership, nobody's going to hold you accountable anyway, right? You're silent, and that public ownership mattered. But part of it was also saying, you know what? I really want to see this change. What do people care about in this context? It might be about how they're remunerated. So if I can make the ties in ways that actually speak to the value of how we can actually represent and be good stewards of the assets of the multitude of people we represent. And certainly at BlackRock, they are representing a lot of people's resources and their retirements, and those people run the gambit. We've got to start doing some ties in ways that people might not have always thought about. So I think there are different strategies that are needed, and I think we have to be prepared to go there. I think a lot of times people aren't prepared to go where the strategy would be most effective. And I think that's the work that is going to always then lead to unfinished business, because you've got to be willing to go to the hard place.
Yeah, I think this is really interesting, really resonates around the you essentially did the framing of the why for a lot of the groups that you were in, and it comes back to that. I know with our board, I think when we started to frame, this is what we've got to do for the teaching and learning to be better in our classrooms, right? That was a different framing, and that was really effective. And this is a must to do, to be better, to do better, and to ensure our students can make their own choices and be successful in every way they want to be. So, Ms. Jackson, it's funny when we think about tools and actual strategies. For those who are in the app or looking at the site, you'll see we've now put in a lot of links that Ms. Jackson has provided. I mean, literally racialequitytools.org, pretty clear, equityinthecenter.org, the barefoot guide.org. These are places, they have literally tools, but let's give the quick version, the Cliff Notes version of some of the stuff that people can find that they can actually use out there to help think about shifting the culture and norms in their organizations to anti-racist practices. Can give us that version?
Sure, thank you. And thank you for plugging these resources. There are many. And I think that the role of changing culture in organizations, there are just a lot of toolkits. There's a lot of case studies. So there's just like a lot of stories out there that people can actually utilize and see their situations in other people's stories. This is the role of storytelling. So I'm a movement person, and my job at Grassroots International is to support social movements. One of the strategies that social movements use is storytelling, so that you can see your situation reflected in someone else's story. You use that to build a relationship, to learn, and to Cheryl's point, what is the strategy that's going to move things forward for the interests and the change that we want to seek. So I think that a lot of these tools offer that. I think a lot of these tools really invite people to look at assumptions, behaviors that we just assume are normal and never question. One thing about organizational culture and the way that people are oriented into a culture around the way you dress, how you talk, a lot of that is shifting. I know that, but some of it is really pervasive. How you talk, how you wear your hair. We still got Black women being shunned, you know, in organizations and corporations because of how we wear our hair. So a lot of these things, a lot of these tools help organizations to create spaces where you can talk about that, look at that, and have the uncomfortable conversations about that. You can bring in a facilitator, you can kind of self-organize, you know, organize folks within an organization or a company that want to see these changes. I'm all about the bottom-up organizing. If you've got folks within an organization or a corporation that want to see change, get together, support each other to push the organization toward a change strategy. I would say a lot of these tools talk about the long haul, that often change is very iterative. Again, to what other folks have talked about, that it's not a cookie cutter approach. It really does take a fair amount of emotional intelligence and courage and willingness to just like be grounded in what it's going to take. And I think that we also have to see these changes within the context of our larger society. We're on stolen land with stolen people. That is the context in which we are creating this change. And I think that we always have to realize that we didn't get here overnight, and then the change that we're seeking is not going to be overnight, but to acknowledge the trauma on marginalized folks, women, queer folk, Black people, Indigenous people, and to acknowledge that trauma and to create healing spaces for people as we move through our change strategies. And I think that's what some of these tools do.
Appreciate that. And I know we're going to post some other tools. The Boston Public Schools has a racial equity planning tool that they've been working through to help some other educators do that. I will make sure we post a lot of the work that we have from what we call our Second Avenue anti-racism consultancy work. I'll post those, and we'll keep sure we're making posting tools so no one can walk away from this call and say, well, I don't have a roadmap here. There's definitely roadmaps for things that can work. But I think we'll also keep emphasizing this call that roadmap only works if you're on your own journey doing this work, particularly for the white leaders out there listening to this and thinking about their pathway. Ms. Tweedy, so again, the scope is so interesting of the work you've done, both in the for-profit and nonprofit sectors, as in education and others. And this certainly most recent with Robin Hood, one of the largest and most powerful and critical anti-poverty organizations in the country, but also with a very large and powerful board, many of whom also sit in other boardrooms. And you've also had obviously a really pivotal CEO just come through, and a great new CEO coming on as well. Both who identify as Black men and have done a lot of work around racial equity. I wonder from those experiences, if you can also think about what was working, right, within the nonprofit board landscape and working with people who have been in a lot of boardrooms. What did you see in your time? And particularly, I know because you did a lot of investing of Robin Hood's money into the community. How did that get framed in a way that was working, was effective to also lift Black and brown people in New York City and make the right decisions to do that?
Yeah, thanks for that question. And I think both Ms. Jackson and Ms. Mills, you've raised up what I landed on as my strategy, which is holding two things at once. How do you radically reimagine what both the impact and the strategy of the organization should be while talking to the board in the language that the board speaks? And I think for those of you who are listening in today, who are joining boards, on boards, particularly students who will be doing that in their future, it's hard. You are in conversations and you are pushed as you are working to speak the current language of the current board to sometimes be more of an incrementalist than you would choose to be, to use different language than the language you use in different spaces. And being able to always show up in the way that's going to drive change and that the board can hear, while knowing that at the end of the day, you're trying to make that change and that really it should be a different language we're all speaking. It should be a different set of data points we're looking at. It should be different expectations for our impact. I just want to name that it's hard. I found it hard, and it's hard personally too. It pushes you to reckon with a lot of things. At the same time, if we try to skip the steps of speaking the current language of the board, we are not going to be heard. And I found that personally, and I watched that happen. So what I work to do, and I say this very clearly because this is, Robinhood was very clearly a 3-decade-old anti-poverty organization that was explicitly colorblind, saying, the rising tide is going to bring all ships up, and saying that we're about fighting poverty and that's not about racial justice. And what I worked to do along with my colleagues was to say, in the data-driven language that had always been the heartbeat, both internally and externally, of Robinhood, that we're not going to have the impact we want for all communities in poverty unless we are looking at not just the challenges, but the impact of the solutions by race. That if we're going to keep holding on to that college degree as the closest thing you're going to get to a silver bullet for economic mobility, then we have to talk about the fact that your average Black college graduate has less wealth than your average high school dropout who is white. And if we're not talking about it that way, then we're not being intellectually serious about the solutions that we're exploring. The one other thing I'd add, Jeff, is that 2020 changed things. And my strategy was always, you have to inform. I'm an educator at heart. You have to inform, you have to teach, you have to bring people along. You have to do it personally, you have to do it quietly, and then you act. But 2020 changed that landscape. And we definitely jumped out ahead in our actions further than we were in our conversation and our learning. And so now the work is, how do you bring them both together? Because I deeply believe that you have to take advantage of any time the door is open just a bit to smash it all the way open and get as far as you can. But if you don't do that alongside it, education really bringing folks along work, then you're only going to ever get so far. And so that is in large part the work of the organization now.
Appreciate that. So we've just got a couple minutes left. And I want to make sure to just give any closing thoughts from any of the panelists. I wonder if we can start with you, Ms. Jackson. I hope you can connect us back to the ground with all the grassroots work. What do they need from us out there? What else can we do to support? But any other closing thoughts that you want to bring in, please, all yours, Ms. Jackson.
Oh, well, thank you. That's really kind. I think it's for all of us, like we're in the middle of a pandemic right now. And I bring that up because, it exists alongside many pandemics for for people of color, like racism and violence, both the structural and to what we're just talking about in terms of the headlines that, 2020, those are all pandemics that we are working through, and we see the connection between them. I think that movements right now people need to feel like that they have the imagination. That's what we're talking about, that people can imagine that things can be different and better, not just for themselves, but for their kids, for their grandkids. And one of the things that we hear a lot in the movements that we support is that how do we, people in the face of a lot of the climate crisis that people are dealing with, the corporate takeover of land, what farmers are dealing with. I mean, we're talking about the sustenance for a lot of things, including in the US. I'm not talking just about outside of the country. I'm talking about land theft for Black farmers in the South, right? So all of these things, people need to be able to imagine that there is going to be a better day, just like our ancestors did. And I feel like our role is to support people in doing that. A radical imagination, it's possible. Another world is possible. And that it's those of us with the privilege, of which I count myself. I have a master's degree. I have a great job. I've not lost my job during a pandemic. I have a house. I have all of my basic needs are met. And that is not the case for a lot of the movements that we support. So that's what I think I would say that we're in a position to support our movements to do, a radical imagination and belief in a better tomorrow.
So, all right, a radical reimagination is a beautiful thought and a big push. I got a 45-second to 1 minute sort of go from, we'll start with you, Ms. Schuster, and then we'll go to Ms. Tweedy and then finish with Ms. Mills. So if we got about 45 seconds to a minute, go for it. Last thought.
I know very little about corporate boards, but I want to say something in general about that question that comes up all the time. I can't find a person of color who has this skill set or has this, social capital or literal capital for this that we need for this position or this opportunity. And I think two things that we all need to be thinking about, and other panelists here have rich experience in. One is pipelines. How do we develop the people that we want to have in the future and deliberately engage in development? And second is remembering to help people take the time for the one-to-one outreach to the folks who can connect them. If I'm a white person who's led a segregated life, I may not know the right folks I'm looking for, but if I take the time to reach out to the right resource, then it will happen.
Stay inspired by the once in a generation demand for racial justice that we all lived through and witnessed over the last year. Consider every action, word, small check or big check, a promissory note, and be an advocate vocally for the fact that there is a serious why for why people of color in leadership, boards, and otherwise matters in a country where every aspect of our American lives is intertwined and always has been with systemic racism.
Thank you, Ms. Mills.
I'm motivated by the fear of failure. So for those of you out there who aren't motivated by the radical imagination of the beautiful world that's out there, Mari Matsuda was my professor. She used to say, how can you be such a pessimist and be in my class? And I'm like, because Mari, you get up every day thinking about how beautiful the world's going to be, and you get out there at it to make sure it happens. I get out there every day saying this world might be a real challenge. And if I don't get my ass out there and do something about it, it's going to stay this way. So for those of you all who need the other side of the coin, it is getting up and every day and saying, I want something different. I don't know how beautiful it's going to be, but I know this isn't where I want to be. And so I'm going to play chess backwards from where I am right now to get where I want to go. So I want to inspire people to believe that you don't have to know what beauty looks like. You have to know what you don't want. And you have to work every day to unlock what you don't want for every person out there you would like to have a different world for. And that, I think, is the thing I would want to encourage everyone to stay committed to.
No better way to end there. My thanks so much to the panels. My thanks again to Professor Mohammed and the IRA team for having us. My thanks to those who spoke before us. My excitement for the future conversations in this conference and then well beyond this room. And as a former tried to be professional musician, my excitement for what is coming up next, to be honored to have a fantastic musical interlude coming, and we'll pass it to there. So thanks for having me in the group, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you all for your insightful comments, perspectives, and imaginary futures. One thing that stuck to me was what Samantha Tweedy said about 2020 representing a changed moment in our approach to making new shifts, and previously something that was carefully and sort of quietly done to now being a little bit more robust in our approach. And as we think today with about board members and the collective identity of power that they truly represent in our corporate and philanthropic organizations, that includes universities. We really want to take away our new strategies and emerging tools that have been introduced today for helping us bring about this more improved and better sort of organizational shifts across the board. So thank you again to all the speakers. Thank you, Jeffrey, for moderating. And please stay tuned for our musical interlude.
Hi, everyone. I am Carrie Ratcliffe, and I am part of the organizing team. And we're so glad you've joined us for today's convening. It's time now to grab some lunch and to shift gears. Khalil Gibran, the poet, not our esteemed faculty director, said, "Music is the language of the spirit. It opens the secret of life, bringing peace, abolishing strife." We've had an impactful morning challenging our minds, but now we want to fuel our bodies and also our spirits. And to do just that, we are so fortunate to be welcoming two musical groups, the Reminders and the Brown Rice Family Band, who will each be performing a 30-minute set dedicated to you, the participants of TNT 2021. First up, we welcome the Reminders. I'm incredibly excited about this performance. If this is the first time you've heard the Reminders, I 100% guarantee it will not be the last. The group consists of Brussels-born MC Big Samir and Queens-born MC vocalist Asia Black. Big Samir weaves intricate rhythmic patterns with a bilingual French-English flow. He's more gifted than I in that, displaying a street-smart credibility in both his lyrics and cool demeanor. This is beautifully complemented by Asia Black's confident delivery, diverse cadences, and unique vocal stylings. Their music is a genre-bending combination of reggae, hip-hop, funk, jazz, soul, and rock. The two have an undeniable magical chemistry. And as they share more than lyrical abilities and stages, the couple shares a partnership in both music and life, as Samir and Asia are married with children. Be sure to explore their albums, including Recollect, Born Champions, and Unstoppable. And if you are in need of some pure joy and inspiration and to see their adorable children, then absolutely watch their documentary, The Making of Unstoppable, on YouTube. Or if you want some insight on how the Reminders navigated being performers during the pandemic, watch Art in a Time of Crisis, a 3x3 project. I will drop the links for these in the chat. Also, do not miss their newly dropped single, Keep It Together. It speaks to the pandemic. It speaks to the challenges that so many people have been facing, and yet it will uplift you and help your inner souls. When you listen to Keep It Together, you'll hear a lyric fitting for today's convening. Don't hide behind values you don't follow. Build what you wish to see tomorrow. Asia and Big Samir have committed their lives to building the change they vision and share their time and talents to actively engage with community organizations, schools, and universities, delivering workshops, talks, and specially catered performances like this one we are so privileged to have today. The Reminders are at the intersection of where art meets activism. And now, with grateful hearts and eager anticipation, we welcome the Reminders.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are the Reminders. I'm Big Samir.
I am Asia Black, and welcome to the Truth and Transformation Conference's wonderful lunch performances.
Yes, yes, yes. Thanks for staying tuned in. We're just going to rock a couple songs for you, so just enjoy.
Welcome on to the show, everybody. Sharing a blessed love. If you're feeling the weight of the world, we're gonna lift you up. We're gonna lift you up.
Yeah.
We're gonna lift you up. We're gonna lift you up.
Hey, hey. Unapologetic, independent, workaholic. Took some time to get it started, building perfect like Masonic.
And like that, how we focused on it, Babylon is your warning. You hear them lions roaring, we gon' get you in the morning.
Y'all come rock with the world champion, never gonna quit till the war is won. Lady for the hater, we never quit.
And then to be with the ultimate.
Hypnotizing when we rockin' it. Asia Black and Jasmine in the flow. My cipher stay original, tight-knit, unbreakable. We live and we digital, consistently incredible. That's how we stay ahead of you. Never on no pedestal. People army, people power, FTP to the final hour.
We are never on our knees. We be hot as we can be. Hope that feeling we be feeling from the simply paying.
on the new friends. Yeah. Say what? Okay, yeah. Now put them up and put them up into the ceiling. We about to put a roof off the building. Hey, and put them up into the sky. It's the reminders that you know we get live.
When I say turn it, now say up, turn it,
Oh,
turn it
oh, up. When I say let's get, you say down. Let's get
down.
Let's get
down.
calling all cars, calling all cars. Calling all cars, calling all cars. Calling all cars, calling all cars. Hey, nobody move, nobody gets hurt. Calling all cars, calling all cars. Calling all cars, calling all cars. Calling all cars, calling all cars. Hey, nobody move, nobody gets hurt.
Nobody
gets hurt. Nobody gets hurt.
Nobody, no, nobody, nah.
Nobody move, nobody gets
nah.
hurt. All right. That was a quick introduction to who we are and what we do. And just to keep the energy going, to get y'all in the mood for some nice entertainment. Now, on this next song, we're going to do something fun. We're going to take a trip down to New Orleans, Louisiana.
You out of breath?
I am out of breath.
Me too.
But that's how it is. Life on the stage, life as a performer.
So we're gonna do something with call and response, because call and response is a mechanism in music that automatically creates unity between people.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna say something, and
you
y'all
can
at
say
home,
you can say it from wherever you are.
somebody might knock on the door and think something strange is going on, but that's okay. So when I say Dust and Bones, you say Dust and Bones. Let's practice for him. You ready?
I'm gonna pretend like I'm the audience.
Chew your food up if you're still eating. We know it's your lunch break. Dust and Bones,
Dust and Bones,
Dust and Bones.
Dust and Bones.
Well, I've been holding on to you for way too long. I've been holding on to you for
Way too long.
But now I'm giving up the ghost and moving on. I'm giving up the ghost and
Moving
I
on.
said Dust and Bones.
Dust and
I
Bones.
said Dust and Bones.
Dust and Bones.
I think y'all got it.
Let's do it.
Hey, hey, yeah. And it go a little something like this.
Let's go.
Dust and Bones.
Dust and Bones.
Well, I've been holding on to you for
Way too long.
But now I'm giving up the ghost and
Moving on.
I said Dust and Bones.
Dust and
I
Bones.
said Dust and Bones.
Dust and
Well,
Bones.
I've been holding on to you for
Way too long.
But now I'm giving up the ghost and
Moving
I
on.
said Dust
Hey.
and Bones. Dearly beloved, we gather here today to lay the rest all the mess standing in our way, to bury all the ghosts, all the skeletons and demons, all the witnesses that keep us up.
The better things.
Set an intentional,
Give more, need
and
less.
make a way for your blessing.
More freedom, less stress.
Stop thinking about everyone else.
That's right.
And underestimating yourself.
Come on.
And take all of your doubt, all your
Guilt and depression.
all your
Looking for validation in people in possession.
take all of your hurt
Hey.
and all of your fear.
Come on.
Bury all of that right here.
Let's go now.
Dust and bones.
Dust and Bones.
Well, I've been holding on to you for
Way too long.
But now I'm giving up the ghost and
Moving on.
I said dust and bones.
Dust and
I
Bones.
said dust and bones.
Dust and bones.
I've been holding on to you for
Way too long.
But now I'm giving up the ghost
Hey,
and
hey,
I said
hey.
dust and bones.
Come on.
Hey.
Quit stressing, overthinking, overworking.
Hey.
Clear your mind from anything that's toxic.
Hey.
Time to face your fears, never revisit the bitterness, the anger, the grudges you held on to. You gotta leave it all behind. Lock 'em in a pine box, bury the hatch, and get planted solid as a rock. You will grow like a tree when you let it all go. Feel free. Get excited about your future. Keep on digging deeper to reach your highest potential. Become monumental. It was I against I, now I'm truly satisfied. I against I, now I'm truly satisfied.
Dust
Say,
and bones.
Dust and
Well,
Bones.
I've been holding on to you for
Way too long.
But now I'm giving up the ghost and
Moving
I
on.
said dust and bones.
Dust and Bones.
And oh, what a feeling. Now that I can see
That I got love for something, yeah, but it ain't got love for me. Nah, nah, nah.
Oh, what a feeling. Now that I can see
That I got love for something, yeah, but it ain't got love for me. Nah, nah,
Say,
nah.
hey,
Hey, nous tirer dans leur temps. Il est temps de tout changer, enterrer le passé. Tous les fantômes vont nous tirer dans leur temps. I'ma dig down, 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 10 feet deep, 20 feet deep, 30 feet deep, bury all those things, grab a hold of me. I'ma dig down, 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 10 feet deep, 20 feet deep, 30 feet deep. That I got love for something, yeah, but it ain't got love for me, nah, nah, nah.
Oh, what a feeling, now that I can see.
That I got love for something, yeah, but it ain't got love for me, nah, nah, nah. And let it all go. Now Ava Black said, yeah. We say yeah, we say yeah, we say yeah. And what we talking about?
Dust and bones,
Dust and bones.
I'm holding on to you.
Way too long.
Now giving up the ghost.
Dust and
I
bones.
said dust and bones.
Dust and
I
bones.
said dust and
Dust and bones.
I'm holding on to you.
Way too long.
I'm giving up the ghost.
Moving on.
Dust and
Dust and bones.
Dust and bones.
Dust and
But
bones.
I'm holding on to you for.
Way too long.
Now I'm giving up the ghost then.
Moving
I
on.
said dust and bones.
Dust and
One more time,
bones.
say dust and bones.
Dust and bones.
Well, I'm holding on to you for.
Way too
But
long.
now I'm giving up the ghost then.
Moving
I
on.
said dust and bones.
Dust and Oh yeah, I hope you've been enjoying that. I hope you've been singing along, dancing along. Hopefully you're dancing around the lunch table right now. And then one thing we'd like for you to do, if you don't mind, is just hop in the chat. Let us know. Give us a shout out where you are watching from. We're live from Denver, Colorado. So wherever you are around the world, just put it in the chat. Let us know how you feel. Let us know if you're feeling good.
Let us know
feeling
where
great.
you're at. Let us know if you're enjoying yourself. Let us know what you're
Yes,
having
yes.
for lunch.
Oh yeah, Truth and Transformation Conference, live and direct around the world in the virtual world. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna keep the party going. We're gonna do a little bit more call and response, if you don't mind. On this next one, since this is a party that we're doing, we're gonna say,
We all just came here to party.
and you're just gonna shout party. So just let your neighbors know what's going on.
But
It's
make
a
sure we
party.
shout it like it's a good party.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and not the parties we don't want to go to, but
This
the
is-
parties
yeah,
that
this
we
is-
do.
This is a great conference. It's a great conference with a party in between before you go to the next session. So
And we know a lot of you guys are working real hard out there in the world making changes and making sure that the lives of every human being are being improved by your work and effort. So this is a time for you to let your hair down a little bit.
That's it.
Or
You
if you don't
deserve-
have any hair, to shine up the dome a little bit
Like
and get
myself.
busy. Here we go.
you deserve a break. Let's go. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You gotta dance a little bit. Move your shoulders if you can. Oh, girl. Hey, baby, hold on. You gotta hit the
Hey.
dance floor, cause this your song.
Hold up.
Hey, baby, hold on.
Let's
you gotta hit the dance floor.
go.
Yeah. They all just came here to party.
Party.
They all just came here to party.
Party.
They all just came here to party.
Hey DJ, don't hurt nobody.
They all just came here to party.
Party.
They all just came here to party.
So let's party.
They all just came here to party.
Come on,
So
come on.
hey, Mr. DJ.
Dim the lights, turn the music up. Friday night, we gonna live it up. Feeling good is what it's all about. When you got your mind set to turn the party out, so come alive. We survive. Already figured out who's gonna drive. So enjoy yourself and don't think too much. It's the time of our life, no need to rush. No.
And you ain't gonna dance like Mike, just
Move your body any way you like.
And you ain't gonna have the moves like Jagger.
Just a little rhythm, a little bit of swagger.
Feel the vibe and feel the flow, and don't worry about a thing.
Just let it all
So
go.
come on, baby, baby, come on.
Hey, one more time with the hook, let's go.
We all just came here to party.
Party.
We all just came here to party.
Party.
We all just came here to party.
Hey DJ, don't hurt nobody.
We all just came here. to
So let's party
We
then.
all just came here. to party.
And we gon' party
We all
then.
just came here to party. So hey, Mr. DJ.
Ballroom dance, mixer, a disco. Camera action, turn on the GoPro. Goodness, I love the vibration. All in together, it's a celebration.
It's a what?
Celebration.
It's a what?
Celebration.
Okay,
Special
now.
occasion.
Okay.
Reunion. Two turntables in a sound system. All my people around the world, this is how we get down.
No drama, no worries, no cares.
Nope.
Just everybody moving
With their hands in the air.
Tonight we leave it all
Behind.
behind. If only for the day
We gonna have a good time.
So feel the vibe and feel the flow.
And don't worry about a thing, just let it all go.
All right, we're all gonna dance from wherever you are.
this way.
I wanna dip.
We can dip,
I wanna dive.
or we can
I wanna
dive.
slip.
We can slip,
I wanna slide.
and then
I
slide.
wanna shake, shake, shake.
Or you can shake, shake, shake
I
it.
wanna shake, shake, shake.
Or you can shake, shake, shake
I wanna
it.
rock.
Just
I
rock,
wanna roll.
and then
I
roll.
wanna bounce.
Just
I wanna
bounce,
stroll.
and then
I
stroll.
wanna shake, shake, shake.
Or you can shake, shake, shake
Hey,
it.
baby, baby, don't break
Oh,
it.
baby, baby, don't break
Say,
it.
oh yeah.
Oh,
Say,
yeah.
oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
One more time, here we go. Let's say, oh yeah.
Oh,
Say,
yeah.
oh yeah.
Oh,
Say,
yeah.
oh yeah.
Ha! To all the people on my left, if you fresh to death, and say, all right.
All right.
To all the people on my right, if you feeling alright, say hey, hey, hey. Party people in the back, if you feeling relaxed, say oh, oh, oh. And all my people at home, if you feeling alone, say oh, yeah.
Say, oh yeah.
Oh,
Say,
yeah.
oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think I can hear y'all from wherever you are. One more time.
Let's say, oh yeah.
Oh,
Say,
yeah.
oh yeah.
Oh,
Say,
yeah. If you're feeling brave, you can try that as well. So let's go. Cause we all just came here to
party.
party.
We all just came here to party.
Party.
We all just came here to party.
Party.
So hey, Mr. DJ. Yes, rotatatam.
That's how we do it. That's how we have a nice little party break. Let's go. Let's just keep the music rolling. So we understand that it takes all of us to accomplish anything. That's why we have conferences like this. We came a long way. We still got a long way to go. Thousands and thousands of miles. Keep walking, gotta keep walking. Keep walking, gotta keep walking. Light as a god. Controlling the tide. Who was holding you and molding you to show you the way? The time is now, never later. 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 The time is now. The time is now. The time is now. The time is now. Time is now. Bare feet, head covered, walking in the desert, not looking for a way home, thirsty for wisdom, wishing for sunshine instead of dark cloud. I contemplated things I never say out loud, made mistakes I can't escape to hide from, locked myself in prayer chambers for hours with no distraction, find balance through pain and transformation. No, I'm not a saint, I had to beg for repentance, learn how to sit back and watch the world in silence, gain status, cause I speak what I practice, living worry, living life in a hurry, recognize my impact, took control of my destiny, took control of my destiny.
Ma lumière, voyager dans le temps et j'ai trouvé ma lumière. Voyager dans le temps
Et j'ai trouvé,
ma lumière.
voyager,
Dans le temps
et j'ai trouvé,
ma lumière.
voyager, et j'ai trouvé, voyager, et j'ai trouvé.
Keep walking, gotta keep walking. And I walked 10,000 miles, and I would walk.
Keep walking, gotta keep walking.
I walked 10,000 miles, and I can walk.
Keep walking, gotta keep walking. Hey, hey, hey. 10,000 miles.
And I can walk.
Keep walking, gotta keep walking.
I have walked 10,000 miles,
and I can walk 10,000 more, and you have walked 10,000 miles, and you can Ta-ta-ta-tum-tum. Yes, yeah, I love that sound you're making after the song. So that's just the power to let you know the power we generate wherever you are. As long as you're tuning in, we feel that energy that you're contributing to this conference. And so all together, that's how much we can accomplish. So
Thank you so much for all your hard work.
Let's keep working together that way. Oh yeah.
Shout out to all the people that have been riding with you since your ideas were small in their infancy before they grew into what they are now.
True.
And the people are always true and authentic and genuine, and they always show up for you in the ways that you need.
True.
Not just the ways that they want to, but the ways that you need them to.
Enjoying the journey together. Come on.
When we first linked up, we came from our separate ways. We were born from the sunshine, but we met on a cloudy day. Then we started walking. We didn't have much to say, but we started with silence, and the worlds all found their places. Our faces and our stories ain't quite the same. If we face it, we gon' make it, and we don't have time to waste.
Love and affection, quality time, no stress on. We speak and we listen, living to sharing the blessing. Love and affection, quality time, no stress on. We speak and we listen, living to sharing the blessing. Hey,
And we come so far, but we got a long way to go. I don't mind walking,
as long as I'm walking with you.
and when things get hard, I know that we'll make it through. 'Cause I don't mind walking,
As long as I'm walking with you. As long as I'm walking with you. Hey, hey. You got loyalty and a healing touch. Slow the pace down, baby, no need to rush. Let's get lost around the world, then we circle the moon. You make sense of everything I've been through. Grew together, became something celestial. Thankful, we sing in harmony, sweet melody. Charge my battery so heavily, I'm reckless. Girl, I'm at your service, God is my witness.
Love and affection,
Quality time, no stress on. We speak and we listen, living to sharing the blessing. Love and affection, quality time, no stress on. We speak and we listen, living to sharing the blessing. Talk to him now.
and we come so far, but we got a long way to go. I don't mind walking,
As long as I'm walking with you,
and when things get hard, I know that we'll make it through. 'Cause I don't mind walking,
as long as I'm walking with you. As long as I'm walking with you.
Hey, same old.
As long as I'm walking with you.
I don't mind, I don't mind.
Say what?
I don't mind, I don't
As long as I'm
mind.
walking with you.
I don't mind, I don't mind. I don't mind, I don't
As long as I'm
mind.
walking with
I
you.
don't mind, I don't mind. I don't mind, I don't mind.
As long as I'm walking with you.
I don't mind, I don't mind. I don't mind, I don't mind.
As long as I'm walking with you.
Ooh, that was a good note at the end. Hit the vibrato.
Just a little something. Usually the music kind of helps me carry it. Oh yeah. Well, let's keep that same kind of energy going. Special dedication to everybody who's on the journey, on that same journey with somebody that you love and with the people that you love. So let's celebrate all together one time. Yes, yes. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. No matter where you are, you can count on me. Count on me. Come on. And you know that you can count on me. No matter where you are, no matter where you are. Come on. And you know
that you can count on me, 'cause I'll be there. No matter where you are, I'll be there.
I'm just a true friend, looking out for your best interest. No hated motive, sincerely care. Allah's my witness. As long as I'm here, you should never feel lonely. Just reach out, you know my love is real and never phony. So whether in great spirit or a bad situation, we can share thoughts through any form of communication. Give you words of wisdom from divine inspiration. I'll never pass judgment and always practice patience.
And if ever you're in trouble, know you
got me.
Cause we're family in the struggle, so you
got me.
And I'm always down around, you can
call me.
When nobody's by your side, you know
I'll be.
And if ever you're in trouble, know you
got me.
Cause we're family in the struggle, so you
got me.
And I'm always down around,
you can call me.
When nobody's by your side, you know
I'll be. Come on.
And you know
that you can count on me. No matter where you are. One more time now. And you know that you can count on me. No matter where you are. It never gets old, repeat it anytime we come in contact. My word is bond, no need for written contract. Here to uplift, give support when it's needed. Hope you get the message and actually act upon it. I'm your comrade, family, brother, I hope you feeling me. Shouldn't be ashamed, conversation is therapy. Open up, pour your heart out.
And free your mind.
Then we get up, celebrate and ride out in the sunshine.
And if ever you're in trouble, know you
got me.
Cause we're family in the struggle, so you
got me.
And I'm always down around, you can
call me.
When nobody's by your side, you
hey,
know
I'll be.
And if ever you're in trouble, know you
got me.
Cause we're family in the struggle, so you
got me.
And I'm always down around,
you can call me.
When nobody's by your side, you know I'll be.
And if you afraid, I will hold you tight. Then whisper in your ear,
it'll be alright.
If you afraid, I will hold you tight. Then whisper in your ear,
it'll be alright.
If you afraid, I will hold you tight. Then whisper in your ear,
it'll be alright.
If you afraid, I will hold you tight. Then whisper in your ear, it'll be alright.
We're gonna make it through.
True that.
Always remember I'm there for you.
Okay.
We're gonna make it through.
Let's go then.
Always remember I'm there for you. We're gonna make it through. Always remember
I'm there for you.
Cause
we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Always remember I'm there for you and you and you and you and you and you.
Today. You can count that you can count on me. Cause I'll be there.
No matter where you are, no matter where you are, I'll be there. And you know
that you can count on me. Cause I'll be there.
No matter where you are, no matter where you are. And I'll be there.
And I'll be there.
And I'll be there.
And I'll be there.
No matter where you are.
No matter where you are.
No matter where you are.
I'll be there. I'll be there. I'll be there. Thank you so much. I'm Asia Black.
I'm Big Samir.
And
We are the Reminders.
Thank you so much for having us at the Truth and Transformation Conference. Please keep working and doing all the good work. If you'd like to hear anything else from us, we have music on all available streaming platforms at The Reminders. Our website is info at the, what?
It's
That's
just,
our
it's theremindersmusic.com. That's our website. But if you go to all streaming platform, The Reminders, real easy to find.
And if you have any questions and you'd like to contact us, our email address is info@theremindersmusic.com. Thank you. Please enjoy each other. Enjoy your lunch. Make sure that if nobody's told you lately, we're proud of all the work you're doing. What you're doing is meaningful and it's important and it's making the difference you're intending for it to make. So thank you so much for having us. Truth and transformation, two things that we're all seeking in our lives. So much love and peace to everybody.
We are
Thank
play our
you so much.
position, us from the arts and you from every other aspect of it. Much love.
Peace.
Wow. We are just loving the music, loving all the reminders, what they shared with us just now. So just really extending our thanks from the team. Thank you, Reminders, for just giving us the energy, giving us life right now during lunch. We hope that you've gotten something to eat, but don't go anywhere because we have our next musical act. That's right, we have two. And I personally am so excited to introduce this group, Brown Rice Family Band. When I first moved to New York City about 15 years ago, some of the first people I met were members of the band, including Sticky Rice. And they instantly just brought me into the energy of New York City, the creativity, the arts, and movement building through music. It's a pleasure to bring them onto the stage, and coming to us straight from New York City and Brooklyn, They are self-described as today's freshest world roots band, jamming towards global solidarity and organic happiness. Guided by a strong belief in the natural flow of things, Brown Rice Family provides the masses with a distinctively organic world roots music, which encompasses reggae, hip hop, dancehall, Afrobeat, jazz stylings, rock, Brazilian, Latin funk. You are about to hear it all. We hope you get up and dance and just enjoy. So without further ado, Brown Rice Family Band.
What's up, Harvard University? We are Brown Rice Family. Thank you for having us. Yes, yes. I hope you enjoy it. This first song right here is called Good Town. And I'm pretty sure for everybody in the band, this song has a different meaning to them. But for me, coming from Brooklyn and having descendants from Haiti, you know, I'm always wondering, like, Haiti has so many guns, but Haitians don't make guns. So I'm trying to figure out, you know, like, what's the intention of having all these youths with guns in their hands? I mean, you guys may or may not know, but the United States right now, there's gun violence going on within the youth all over the nation. It's actually a pandemic of how many youth, especially youth of color, who are passing away of gun violence. So this song is dedicated to peace. And put your guns down, because we got way more to offer. All right? Where is the love? Where is the love? University. If you feeling Brown Rice Family, say yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yo, I can't hear you guys over there. Yo, you guys are sleeping? I hope we still got your attention. If you're feeling Brown Rice Family music, say yeah, yeah. That's what it is, all right. This next one is called Soldier.
Oh, yeah.
And this is dedicated to all the soldiers who believe in
themselves.
peace, love, justice, and definitely yourself.
Harvard, do you believe in yourself?
Ooh.
Massachusetts, do you believe in yourself?
Ooh.
Boston, do you believe in yourself?
Hey.
Connecticut, New Hampshire, Vermont. Recruiting for the army now. Whoa, whoa. 'Cause we got soldiers. Recruiting for the army, yeah, yeah, yeah. 'Cause we got soldiers. Recruiting for the army now. Whoa, whoa. 'Cause we got soldiers. Recruiting for the army, yeah, yeah, yeah.
'Cause we got soldiers and warriors. We on a march. Brown Rice Family. We about to start. We got soldiers and warriors. We on a march. My people's up in Harvard. We about to start. We got soldiers and warriors. We on a march. My people's up in Brooklyn. We about to start. We got soldiers and warriors. We on a march. Brown Rice Family. Yo, we in front of the march. The dopest drummer MCs. Everybody else is trying to follow. We are Buffalo Soldier. Repping for that block that's massive. All imposters are getting held captive. If you hating, then let me hear your response. 'Cause I don't think you're ready for that Brooklyn Renaissance. We're recruiting the best, forgetting the rest. At the end of our mission, we succeed in our conquest. 'Cause we're jobless, let no man curse. We already in the struggle, we done past the worst. Spreading the message from Port-au-Prince to Kampala. My dreams are way more bigger than a dollar. Holla, just like you receive, get ready to give. 'Cause every man dies, but not every man lives. There's a regime change that's going on. And if you in the way, then you get stepped on. Yo, we got soldiers, soldiers. Hey. 'Cause we got soldiers, soldiers. 'Cause we got soldiers, soldiers. 'Cause we got soldiers, soldiers. 'Cause we got soldiers and warriors. We on a march. Brown Rice Family. We about to start. We got soldiers and warriors. We on a march. Our people's up in Boston. We about to start. We got soldiers and warriors. We on a march. Our people's up in Harvard U. We about to start. We got soldiers and warriors. We on a march. Brown Rice Family. We reach it. Sticky rice.
What the hell is wrong with this nation? Why are we headed for destruction? I've been a soldier from the start. Descendants of the African. The diaspora of the motherland. Overload, soldier man. That's why I am fighting for citizens. Snatch from the motherland. And get Roman transshipped into Babylon. We don't stop fight till we reach our
On a revolution, that is how we coming. Of a revolution, that is how we coming. Free your mind and break off the tutelage. The cognitive dissonance, the way we live. We ain't slaves no more, we in a new century. We have the power to change our own history. I know you aware, don't act like you don't know about it. And if you don't know, then you need to go and know about it. The problem is that we don't even know we have a problem. And if you don't know you have a problem, how you gonna solve it? Some people know we have a problem, but don't wanna solve it. 'Cause they're making a profit of the problems we have. The philosophy is pushing for us to set it straight. Sometimes you have to make a move, you can't rely on fate. Break out the show that you are born to believe in. The open-minded always have a better reason. The
a closed mind that will plot so that you stay in. Like a queen of victims in that stadium, for me, I'm soldiers. Cause we got soldiers. Cause we got soldiers. Cause we got soldiers. For my revolution, every soldier's calling on. What up? Revolutionary soldiers. Harvard, you feeling us? I hope you're feeling what you're seeing. I hope you're feeling what you're hearing. This next song is called Believe in Yourself. And in order to achieve anything in life, before you believe in anything else, you have to believe in yourself. You have to erase all doubt that your dreams and your goals are going to get accomplished as if they already happened. You're just trying to catch up to the time when it does happen, all right? So through this call and response, I'm gonna find out how many people right now watching us really believe, truly believe in yourself, all right? You guys ready?
Ready.
Harvard University, are you ready?
I don't think they're ready.
No, some of them still like suspect.
We can't hear you.
They're like, ready for what? What am I getting ready for? Where are my peoples at? Let me hear you say believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself.
My people's up in Harvard. Let me hear you say believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself.
My massive up in Brooklyn. Let me hear you say believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself.
We're Brown Rice family, and you know that we believe in ourselves. Ay, ay, ay. Sac-passe, sac-passe, sac-passe. Caribbean massive, what up? Asia, what up? Europe, what up? Africa, what up? over here. When I put up that got about to put it in the air. Yeah, if you hungry, then I know you hear it. You need to put your mind in it and get the hustler spirit. If you don't stand for something, then you'll go for anything. If you a winner, go get it and let me hear you say, where all my people say, let me hear you say, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. If you really love yourself, let me hear you say, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. My people's up in Harvard, let me hear you say, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. We're Broadway's family, and you know that we believe in ourselves. So what you wanna do? Do what you wanna do. Where all my people's at? Let me hear you say, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. If you really love yourself, let me hear you say, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. It's love, it's peace, and unity. The more we are together, you better be standing up and dancing or moving something. Move a little. Tell them. Harvard University, you better be moving right now. What you got? Show us what you're working with. Show us what Harvard. Show us what you're working with. Show us what you got. Show us what you're working with. Let's see you over there on the left moving. Harvard, come on. Show us what you got. And show us what you're working with. Show us what you got. And show us what you're working with. I see you over there on the right moving your shoulders. Show us what you're working with. Show us what you got. Don't be shy. Follow the leader, leader, leader. Follow the leader. Come on. Follow the leader, leader, leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader, leader, leader. Follow the leader. Come on. Follow the leader, leader, leader. Follow the leader. We're gonna play a game called Follow the Leader. Very easy, very simple. The person in front has 8 counts to do your move. After them 8 counts, everybody does the move. I'm waiting for you to stand up. Harvard University, I need you to stand up and get ready to do these moves with us. You're gonna do exercise. We're about to burn some calories. Exercise. That's just how Brian's family
Do what
down.
you see.
Yes, yes. So the first move, I'm gonna break it down for you. Here we go.
Are you ready?
1, 2, here we go. Cross, cross, back, back, cross, cross. Let's get it. Cross, cross, back, back, cross, cross. Cross, cross, back, back, cross, cross. Cross, cross, back, back, cross, cross. Cross, cross. Let's get it. Down. Rosalind, Rosalind. What you got? What you got? What you got? Boom.
Oh, nice.
Boom. That's the ghost right there. You sneaking out. Bring it out.
Monkey move. Groove. Hey, Harvard. You and you and you and you. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Kinda, what you got? What you got? What you got?
Show them what you got. And show them what you working. Show them what you got. Show them what Harvard. We show them what you got. Show us what you working with. Show us what you got. Show us what you working with. Show us what you got. Show us what you working with.
Woo, that wasn't an easy one. I hope you got it, Harvard. That wasn't an easy one. That was some nice
Did you get
footwork.
it? Did you get it? Did you get it? Okay, I see. Let's go, let's go.
Who's next?
Let's go, let's go, let's
Sticky,
go.
you the
let's
last
go.
one, yo. What you got?
Oh yeah, it's my turn?
Yeah, man.
Are you ready? Harvard, are you
Uno,
ready?
dos, trois, quatre, hein? Oh,
let's
she
go.
got it. To the left, to the left. To the right. To the right. To the left. You know what? First of all, let's introduce the dancers. Representing Kingston, Jamaica. Give it up for Ross Slim Dancer. Aye, aye. Hey, 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 hey. Let's get it, let's get it. Aye. Oh, 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 oh.
Harvard, can you do that? Uh-oh, just kidding, just kidding, let's get it.
Coming all the way from Japan. You know we have to have that female energy as necessary. Kind of show 'em what you got. Kind of from Japan. Hey, hey, make it rain. Hey,
Oh yeah,
hey, make it rain.
make it rain,
Hey,
make it rain.
uh-huh.
I say
From Bronx, New York. On the saxophone, clarinet, harmonica. Give it up for Isaiah Richardson Jr., representing the PX Bronx, New York. All the way from Saitama, Japan, on guitar. Give it up for Kyle the Cat. Oh yes. From Chi-Town, Chicago,
Chicago, Chicago.
on drum set. the way down from South Africa on keys and synth. Give it up for Soyo. Down under. All the way from Japan, right next to the rice fields. Right next to all those fields. On percussion, and one of the founders of Brown Rice Family, on djembe. Give it up for Yuichi. Japan don't play with percussion. They don't mess around with percussion. Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. All the way from Clarendon, Jamaica. On vocals and dance.
Oh yeah.
And shaker. Give it up for the one and only Sticky Rice. Sticky Rice. Sticky Rice. Sticky My name is Okai, representing Brooklyn and Haiti at the same time. We wish you love, prosperity, and most of all, health. Health. Health.
The more we are together, the happier we shall be. The more we are together, the stronger we shall be. The more we are together, the happier we gonna be. The more we are together,
Let's get it.
we shall
Mozambique, Madagascar, Cape Verde, Côte d'Ivoire, Egypt, what up? Tanzania, Kenya, Liberia, Senegal. Yes, yes.
Thank you. Thank you for having us, Harvard.
Harvard, I hope you had a good time, man.
Oh yeah, we want to say peace, love, togetherness to us all. Because the more we are together, it's the happier we're gonna be. The more we are together, it's the stronger we shall be. No more lines of separation, no more lines of division. We're coming together in a U-N-I-T-Y. U-N-I-T-Y, that's a unity. U-N-I-T-Y. U-N-I-T-Y, that's a unity. U-N-I-T-Y. U-N-I-T-Y, that's a unity.
Well, that was Brown Rice Family Band. Give it up for them. We are, again, just rocking here in the IRA HQ and just loving both performances, which just, again, gave us so much energy, so much life this afternoon. It's almost 2 p.m. here in Boston, and we are just still moving along in Truth and Transformation. The day is not over, far from over, actually. First, I just want to give a huge shout out to the Reminders again for an amazing performance, and Brown Rice Family Band, which includes Sticky Rice, Okai, Yuichi, Soils, Amu, Kaz, Isaiah, Tama, Corey, and many guests you saw featured on the streets of Brooklyn just now. Please check out their work as well as the Reminders. We've posted the links in the chat, and just support the artists. As we've said, we know the artistic community has really been impacted the most during the pandemic, and just really want to continue to support the arts, which supports our organizing, which supports our movement building, which supports our institutional reform. As we've heard today, it is all connected. So thank you again to two fabulous musical acts and everyone who made it possible for them to be with us. So coming up at 2 p.m. Eastern, and wherever you are time-wise, we have a fabulous discussion between Dr. Muhammad, who you've already met, and Nikole Hannah-Jones, who really needs no introduction. That is going to be at 2 p.m. And so you need to head back to your agenda on the Whova app and click on view session for the next session. So just make sure you get your water, get your coffee, and you head back to the agenda, click on view session for the discussion between Nikole Hannah-Jones and Dr. Khalil Gibran Muhammad, a reckoning on the origin story of America, and just two fantastic, both editor and contributor to the 1619 Project. Thank you.